Staying with those Western Cape fire stories now, authorities are working with the South African Air Force to control several fire-related incidents in the province. We've asked Overberg District Municipality Fire Chief Reinard Geldenhuys to fill us in on the latest with regards to the fires raging in the province. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on Late Edition. For anyone outside the affected areas, is it possible to explain the fires, what is going down? We see lots of visuals, but I suppose to be on the ground, it's completely different.
It is definitely completely different to it. We're experiencing a very, very rough and dry fire season. Not to get bogged down in statistics, we've had 24% less rain this winter than normal. The conditions are extremely dry with the wind temperature reaching 36 degrees. We're in the high upper reds of the FTIs. So for fires, it's ideal. Give it a little bit of wind with it, it moves and it runs. The one fire ran 30 kilometers in 3 hours. Now 10 k's an hour doesn't sound fast, but a fire, it's incredibly fast. It makes following, putting out, extinguishing almost impossible, and all you're doing is getting stuff out of the way, protecting structures and so on. So yes, on the ground it's extremely difficult. Fynbos fuels are at high flash points, a small spark and it runs, fires jump, very difficult to contain.
Tell us about some of the worst affected areas.
So at the moment, we've got areas in the Overstrand area. We're waiting for their final update. They're still very much affected. Some of the informal settlements, which they will report on. A lot of the farm areas, a lot of the flower production has been affected. There are farms in the Overberg area that lost all their flowers. Some of our wine farms have been affected. And then, as reported on earlier, the animals and the lost animals. So we were fortunate in the Overberg, the towns like Elim, which is a very important town for us, that was saved the night before, and some of the smaller towns. So we're lucky that in the respect of structure loss, we've been really focusing on making sure that we haven't got structures. As you said earlier, we've got an RX helicopter that worked in the Overstrand area today, that we were very fortunate that the Air Force could make available. The Kashugu working on fire, the Kashugu helicopters, the working on fire teams, the volunteers, and then the landowners themselves. We see landowners in their droves coming out with their own units and helping us. So as far as losses are concerned, to come back to your question, a few structures, we're still making sure how many, but a big economic impact on flowers and that type of thing.
Are there any plans for evacuations in any of the areas, well, at least that you could be considering at this point?
Not at the moment. There were evacuations in the Overstrand area. They reported this earlier today. Right now, the fires around Greyton is not posing an immediate threat to the community, so we're not thinking of evacuating in that area. Some of our other areas, yes, individual homesteads in the farm areas might be evacuated, but right now there's no towns or townships or anything like that being evacuated. The individuals we do talk to, if the fire comes too close to single homesteads and we're unsure about protecting it, then we ask them just to leave the area until it's safe, but right now, no evacuations.
We had a story earlier on where the SPCA was talking about wildlife affected by these fires. I'd like to know from you about the wildlife and livestock casualties.
We haven't had that many livestock casualties, but definitely wildlife. We had the SPCA in our areas as well, and we're extremely grateful for the work that they're doing. I've personally seen 2 or 3 injured animals, and then of course we had Pantera. They had to treat their animals and so on. And today, in one of the fires, one of the wild boars were caught in the fire and had to be euthanized. So there is a loss. Yes, fynbos is adapted to fire, and the people in the fynbos, sorry, not the people, that too, I suppose, but the animals in the fire is adapted to that, but still we get casualties, tortoises, snakes, small animals, buck that get burned and so on. So there is definitely a toll to it. And when some of the areas when we do indirect firefighting, that is some of the casualties of a fire.
Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening, and all the best to all of your firefighters and those helping to put those fires out.